It's been 4 months. It's been a necessary time and an opportunity for me to step away a little bit and put a little bit of thought and reflection into going forward and how to best prioritize things.
The world may have turned its back on Phil Mickelson, but now, after years of distance and the storm surrounding LIV Golf, he appears to be turning back toward it. His newest announcement has ignited one question across the sport. Is Lefty preparing to come home? Today, we explore how golf's former outcast has reemerged as its most unpredictable wild card. Phil Mickelson's rise was once the sport's favorite fairy tale. Long before controversy defined his headlines, he was a prodigy who made golf look effortless and fun. Born in San Diego in 1970, Mickelson built a legend before he ever turned professional. By the time he left Arizona State University 3 NCAA titles in hand, he had already become a phenomenon. His 1992 PGA Tour debut wasn't merely an entry onto the circuit. It was the arrival of golf's most theatrical showman. Mickelson didn't just play golf. He performed it. Every shot felt like a dare, every approach a gamble. Charming, unpredictable, and extraordinarily skilled, he captured fans not only with victories, but with the electricity he brought to every hole.
Breaking news in golf. Phil Mickelson is indeed signing up with LIV Golf and will play in the inaugural event beginning this Thursday in London. Now, he has not played since February when he got in hot water over his comments about Saudi Arabia, which is backing this new tour, and also comments about the PGA Tour. He did not play in the Masters. He did not play in the PGA Championship. The U.S. Open, which is the one major Phil has yet to win, is next week. But Lefty...
The early 2000s marked Mickelson's transformation from star to icon. That 18-foot birdie putt at the 2004 Masters, pure cinematic magic, cemented his place in golf history. The grin, the leap, the roar from the gallery. It was the birth of a legend. He followed with major wins in 2005, 2006, and 2010. And by the time he hoisted the 2013 Open Championship trophy at Muirfield, consensus had formed. Phil Mickelson wasn't simply great. He was inevitable. But behind the polished smile, the gallery waves, and the aura of invincibility, long circulating reports hinted at a more complicated reality. Whispers of gambling habits, financial strains, and impulsiveness that made him both thrilling to watch and difficult to predict. When Mickelson won the 2021 PGA Championship at age 50, the oldest major champion in history, he wasn't just defying time, he was rewriting it. Yet even as confetti fell, tension simmered. Mickelson publicly criticized what he described as the PGA Tour's restrictive policies, framing them as evidence of broader issues in professional golf. He hinted at looming change, retirement, reinvention, or something far more disruptive. Then came the shock. In June 2022, with a calm, understated message grateful for the past, excited for the future, Mickelson announced his departure from the PGA Tour. The move to the Saudi-backed LIV Golf League, reportedly accompanied by a massive financial deal, sent shockwaves through the sport. It wasn't merely a career shift. It was a declaration that the old order was no longer untouchable.
This is some of what Phil Mickelson had to say in a statement today. I am thrilled to begin with LIV Golf and appreciate everyone involved. I also intend to play the majors. I fully realize and respect some may disagree with this decision and have strong opinions, and I empathize with that. I have a renewed spirit and excitement for the game. I am incredibly grateful for the support of my fans, partners, friends, and peers, and hope in time those sentiments, relationships, and support continue.
For years, Mickelson simmered under PGA Tour rules he publicly criticized as restrictive and, in his words, obnoxiously greedy. To him, the tour wasn't a sanctuary for players, it was a monopoly. So when LIV Golf arrived with massive financial backing and an offer promising to rewrite the sport's entire playbook, Mickelson didn't simply sign on, he became its most visible champion. I've seen the good and the bad, he said at the time, framing his leap as a step toward what he believed was progress. Critics called it hypocrisy. Mickelson called it evolution, that LIV wasn't traditional golf, it was golf remixed. 54 holes, team formats, no cuts, shotgun starts, add-in music, guaranteed contracts, and a global stage, and suddenly the sport felt less like Augusta and more like a music festival with wedges. The PGA Tour was anything but amused. Commissioner Jay Monahan announced suspensions in a tense statement marked by disappointment. Sponsors distanced themselves, KPMG, Callaway, Amstelite, each trying to reinforce their corporate values. Social media erupted with mockery and moral outrage. Yet in the middle of the firestorm, Mickelson looked strangely relieved. His first LIV appearance in London drew major crowds, their cheers drowning out much of the criticism. He tied for second and smiled like a man who had wagered everything and pulled the perfect card. "This is about creating a better product," he told reporters, calm and defiant. Maybe it was rebellion, maybe reinvention. But one thing was certain. The sport's longtime golden child had become his outlaw, and golf would never be the same again.
That's difficult, and the model that is on LIV is what is needed to be successful. We saw it even on last week's signature event. Players will do what's good for them and not necessarily play unless they are contractually obligated, just like in the NFL and baseball and every other professional sport. And that model, as it's brought to LIV, is allowing us to move throughout the world and make professional golf a global sport. And
the backlash reached its peak at the 2022 U.S. Open. Once adored, Mickelson walked through a wall of boos so loud they swallowed the sound of his drives. For a man who had always fed off crowd energy, the quiet between jeers felt punishing. "It hurts," he admitted afterward, his voice unsteady. "It hurts to lose relationships built over decades." But empathy was scarce. The public had already chosen its villain. Online, the outrage turned venomous death threats, vandalism, endless memes casting Mickelson as the face of greed. Sponsors withdrew supporting waves. Protesters outside LIV events waved signs accusing players of taking blood money. Yet beneath the fury was a more complicated truth. Mickelson wasn't the only player who left the PGA Tour, just the biggest, boldest, and easiest to target. BY late 2022, he attempted damage control. "My words were poorly chosen," he acknowledged. But the internet doesn't archive apologies. It archives mistakes. His attempt at remorse became another punchline. And still, Mickelson smiled to the storm bruised. Perhaps, but unbroken. He didn't fade into the background. He thrived in the noise if the world wanted a villain. Mickelson offered one, complete with a grin and a driver. On the Full Send podcast, he declared, "LIV is the future," with a conviction that sounded like both bravado and belief. Outrage wasn't a deterrent. It was fuel. As captain of High Flyers GC, he became evangelist, showman, and provocateur rolled into one. LIV reinvented the sport with shotgun starts, massive purses, and champagne-drenched podiums. If the PGA Tour was about etiquette, Mickelson's new world was about spectacle. BY 2024. He had transformed into LIV's silver-haired statesman, demanding recognition, trolling PGA bureaucracy, sparring with rivals online. When Rory McIlroy took a swipe, Mickelson clapped back with a meme, "Hate the player, not the game." The internet groaned but laughed anyway. Still, cracks showed. Old friendships cooled. Some allies stopped calling. Even tabloids whispered about tension at home. But surrender? It wasn't in his vocabulary. "I believe in this," he told Fox News in April 2025, eyes blazing with purpose. And LIV's explosive global growth from roaring crowds in Adelaide to neon-lit events in Hong Kong made him look vindicated. Yet behind every cheer lingered a question. Was this triumph or delusion? The joy looked real, but so did the exhaustion. Still, under the lights, Lefty remained Lefty, a gambler, a disruptor, a man willing to wager his legacy. Then came the twist. November 4th, 2025 at LIV Golf. The league, literally named after 54 holes, announced it would revert to a traditional 72-hole format starting in 2026. CEO Scott O'Neill called it a natural evolution to strengthen competition and advance conversations about world ranking points. But fans and critics saw something else entirely. Not innovation. Capitulation to revolution, bending back toward the rules it once mocked.
I think that LIV has made some incredible strides of getting to where we want this to be. And it will get there. I don't know the exact timeline. And that is we want all the best players in the world to be able to compete against each other more often and on a global scale. And the model...
The reactions came fast. Jon Rahm celebrated the competitive upgrade. Bryson DeChambeau called it a win for the fans. Dustin Johnson gave a quiet nod of approval, but the silence from Phil Mickelson was deafening. This was his idea, his movement. The 54-hole model had been his gospel proof that golf could be faster, flashier, freer. And now, in a single boredom announcement, it was gone. When reporters finally cornered him, his response was barely audible. I'm honestly not sure. For words, yet heavy with the fatigue of 3 years of controversy. Fans replayed the clip endlessly, dissecting every blink, every pause. Was he disillusioned, defeated, or just exhausted from fighting a system that always seemed to win? Behind closed doors, murmurs grew louder. Had LIV caved to PGA pressure? Had the Rebel League realized that legitimacy still bowed to tradition? Mickelson, once golf's loudest revolutionary, now appeared as its fading echo. As 2025 drew to a close, the image of Phil standing quietly at the edge of a press tent said it all. The man who had built a bonfire under golf's establishment was watching his own flames flicker, not extinguished, but dimmed, leaving only smoke, silence, and a faint sense of surrender. Then came another move, legal gambit. Just days after LIV's 72-hole reversal, Mickelson swung again, but this time not with a club. On November 7, 2025, in a fiery post on X, formerly Twitter, he announced he had hired powerhouse attorney Tom Clare to sue Hunter Brook Media for defamation. The outlet had accused him of leaking insider information about Sable offshore stock, a charge Mickelson called false and slanderous. His post wasn't just a denial. It was a declaration of war. I'm done staying quiet when lines are crossed, he wrote. Each word punctuated like a perfectly struck drive. Classic Mickelson. Defiant, dramatic, impossible to ignore. The timing couldn't have been more cinematic. While LIV backpedaled toward PGA tradition, its original rebel was ramping up the chaos. The lawsuit reignited every old controversy, gambling debts, whispered insider tips, and the uneasy dance between truth and image. The court of public opinion reopened, and fans split in two. Fight back, Phil, cheered some. You made the mess, now live in it, scoffed others. Enter Tom Clare, courtroom heavyweight, famously known for defending Johnny Depp. Suddenly, the story had everything: celebrity, scandal, defamation, and drama. Analysts predicted it could cost Mickelson millions. But this wasn't about money. It was about control, reclaiming a narrative that had long slipped through his fingers. Living in the public eye makes me a target, he admitted, linking the smear to years of fallout since joining LIV. Bravado was still there, but beneath it, the cracks remained. That haunting shrug from days earlier, I'm honestly not sure, lingered like an aftertaste of doubt. And as 2025 draws to a close, one truth remains. Phil Mickelson, golf's eternal gambler, is still all in. Whether this ends in redemption or ruin, no one stages a downfall quite like Lefty. The man who once defied gravity now duels with legacy. And even in defeat, he insists on making it a spectacle. This is where Phil Mickelson stands. Defiant, unpredictable, utterly unbothered. No longer just a golfer, he has become a symbol of everything unruly in modern sports. Pride, risk, rebellion rolled into one smirking swing. Whether the lawsuit wins or fizzles, whether LIV thrives or folds, one thing is certain. Lefty will never go quietly.